of this is if you are Black, they don't want you to know what we are going to say now. But let's be clear, you were never meant to hear it. Not here, not now, not in the way it's about to be laid bare. The system thrives on your distraction, on your scrolling, your exhaustion, your endless cycle of stress and entertainment. Because the moment you stop, the moment you pause long enough to ask the right questions, the truth comes rushing back like a flood. They don't need whips anymore. They have Wi-Fi. They don't need overseers. They have algorithms. And those algorithms are working overtime, not just to keep you entertained, but to keep you docile, divided, and asleep. This is not a conspiracy. It's psychological warfare. It's cultural colonization in digital disguise. While you are busy laughing at memes or arguing about celebrities, your history is erased, your future is redirected, and your mind, the most powerful force on this planet, is being chained in silence. The question is, what really happened? How did Black people go from kings, queens, warriors, and inventors to a people constantly told their worth begins with slavery and ends in survival? And more importantly, how do they break free now? In this video, let's find out. If you think slavery for Black people has ended, you don't know about the digital plantation that exists secretly. Yes, the plantation never vanished. It merely rebranded. Where once whips cracked in the fields, now glowing screens hum in bedrooms, classrooms, and pockets. Where iron shackles bound wrists, algorithms bind attention spans. Where overseers once watched from horseback, corporations now monitor every click, swipe, and pause in the scroll. This is the digital plantation, and its power is both invisible and relentless. Black teens spend 7 to 10 hours every day consuming media, more than any other demographic. But what exactly are they consuming? Not empowerment, not liberation. Instead, the feed drips a steady stream of violence, hypersexuality, trauma, and chaos. The result is predictable. Black children are 3 times more likely than white peers to encounter trauma online. And while their eyes are glued to screens, their literacy declines. In some American cities, more than 80% of Black 4th-grade boys cannot read at grade level. None of this is accidental. Entertainment replaces education by design. Distraction replaces discipline. Ignorance becomes engineered. And because every like, every tap, every pause is data, this data is recycled back into the system to tighten the chains. What once was physical enslavement is now psychological capture. The plantation has evolved, but the purpose remains the same: to control Black potential before it becomes power. But there's an even deeper strategy. Chains alone don't guarantee control. To truly enslave a people, you must erase their memory of greatness. From the earliest classroom lessons, Black children are told that their story begins in chains, that Africa was darkness before Europe brought light, that their ancestors were savages without civilization. But history tells another truth. Long before Europe had castles, Africa had empires that made the world tremble. The Mali Empire under Mansa Musa produced the wealthiest man in recorded history, his influence stretching across continents. In Kush and Nubia, Black royalty built pyramids, studied the stars, and developed advanced systems of governance. Timbuktu housed libraries overflowing with manuscripts on medicine, mathematics, law, and philosophy, while Europe was still burning women as witches. But this legacy was systematically buried. Images of kings and queens were replaced by caricatures of slaves. Even so, resistance never ceased. Denmark Vesey plotted a rebellion in Charleston. Nat Turner led an uprising that terrified slave owners. Queen Nzinga fought Portuguese invaders for decades, refusing to bow to colonizers. Their names are rarely spoken in classrooms because empowered ancestors create empowered descendants, and that empowerment threatens the system. The erasure didn't stop with history. It continued into the modern era. Even after freedom was proclaimed, suppression took new forms. Black inventors and thinkers transformed the world. The traffic light, the gas mask, the elevator system, the home security alarm, the blood transfusion methods, and thousands of others were all birthed by Black hands and minds. Yet how many of these names are celebrated in mainstream education? Few, if any. George Washington Carver created hundreds of agricultural innovations that reshaped farming across the globe. Benjamin Banneker, a self-taught mathematician and astronomer, helped map Washington, D.C. Dr. Patricia Bath revolutionized ophthalmology with groundbreaking surgical technology. These were not isolated geniuses. They were part of a continuum of Black brilliance. And yet, their recognition is fleeting, their stories hidden. Even in culture, theft is routine. The Dogon people mapped star systems centuries before telescopes existed. African drumming rhythms birthed jazz, blues, rock, hip-hop, and much of global popular music. Yet the source of these contributions is stripped, rebranded, and resold. The genius remains, but the credit does not. This deliberate erasure fuels a dangerous myth that Black excellence is rare instead of ever-present. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. What's more, the strategy of suppression wasn't just silence, it was violence. Whenever Black communities began to prosper, flames followed. Tulsa's Greenwood district, known as the Black Wall Street, was a thriving hub of doctors, lawyers, and entrepreneurs. In 1921, it was burned to the ground, with over 300 murdered and thousands displaced. Survivors never saw justice. The Colfax Massacre of 1873 saw more than 100 Black men killed for attempting to exercise the right to vote. In Rosewood, Florida, an entire Black town was destroyed in 1923. In East St. Louis, 1917, white mobs slaughtered hundreds of Black workers in a calculated act of racial cleansing. These weren't riots, as history books suggest. They were massacres. They were acts of war against Black progress, and they were deliberately erased from the public consciousness. Because if widely acknowledged, reparations wouldn't just be debated, they would be demanded. Now, when confronted with these realities, many say the system is broken, but a closer look reveals a harsher truth. The system isn't broken. It's operating exactly as intended. Education is designed to fail Black children. Schools in Black communities are chronically underfunded, staffed with more police officers than counselors, and stocked with outdated textbooks. Suspensions and expulsions target Black students disproportionately, funneling them from classrooms into the prison system. This isn't neglect, it's the school-to-prison pipeline. Policing, too, is rooted in control. From slave patrols of the 18th century to modern police departments, the badge has always served to instill fear in Black communities. The continuity is undeniable. Even in the digital age, control adapts. Facial recognition software misidentifies Black faces up to 100 times more often than white ones. Predictive policing algorithms disproportionately target Black neighborhoods regardless of actual crime rates. The FBI's COINTELPRO, once tasked with dismantling Black liberation movements, has evolved into algorithmic surveillance, monitoring activists, suppressing hashtags, and burying posts. The plantation modernized, but the master's hand remains. However, when brute force is not enough, division completes the work. Colorism, classism, tribalism. These poisons were deliberately seeded within the Black community. On plantations, lighter skin was given preference over darker skin. That hierarchy survives today, in music, movies, and even hiring decisions. In wealthier Black communities, class barriers separate the successful from the struggling, as if individual escape erases collective struggle. Across continents, African, Caribbean, and African American identities are pitted against each other, mocking accents, belittling traditions, debating who has it worse. Meanwhile, the real enemy smiles. because a divided community cannot unite against systemic control. Media amplifies these fractures. Violence, greed, and hypersexuality trend, while messages of knowledge, unity, and liberation are buried. Artists who glorify destruction are celebrated. Those who preach empowerment are silenced. A distracted and divided people are manageable, but a united, conscious people are unstoppable. And this is the moment of fear for the system, when Black people remember who they truly are. Not slaves, but survivors. Not victims, but visionaries. Not powerless, but divine. Melanin is not just a pigment. It is memory. It carries the echoes of empires, the legacy of resistance, the brilliance of survival. To awaken is to realize that the chains are not permanent, and that the plantation thrives only on ignorance. The most dangerous Black person is not the wealthiest or the strongest, but the one who is fully awake. Because when the Black mind is conscious, it shakes empires. When Black people unite across divisions, no system can contain their power. That is why suppression is constant. That is why distraction is endless. Because an awakened people cannot be controlled. But awakening is not enough. Awareness without action is paralysis. Knowledge must lead to building. Therefore, Black people should reclaim knowledge. They should read the books buried from curricula. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, by Walter Rodney, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, and Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. Knowledge is not optional. It is weaponry. Secondly, Black people should reclaim economics, circulating the Black dollar within the community. Buy land, build credit, invest in education and business. Every dollar spent is a vote for liberation or for oppression. Then, culture should be reclaimed. You should reject the divisions of shade, class, and nationality. Celebrate every accent, every tradition, every shade of melanin. Restore language, music, art, and family structures that were fractured by colonial design. That's how Black people will be able to reclaim the future. Youth should be mentored and taught about technology. Black people should prepare the next generation not just to participate in the future, but to own it. AI, coding, and new industries cannot be left as tools of exploitation. They must be claimed as instruments of liberation. After knowing all this, know that you were not meant to know about this. You were not meant to awaken. The system counted on your silence, your distraction, your fatigue. But here you are. That alone is resistance. They tried to bury you under lies, under shame, under erasure, but they forgot the truth. Buried seeds do not die. They rise. And so does the Black legacy, again and again. The plantation has shifted form, but so has the resistance. The only question that remains is not whether the system can be beaten. It is whether you will rise to join the building of something greater. Because waking up is not the finish line. It is the starting point. The next step is yours. Why do you think your history books started your story with slavery instead of empires like Mali, Kush, or Timbuktu? Who benefits when Black children spend hours online, entertained, but leave school unable to read at grade level? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on what would happen if Black people across the world decided to unplug from distractions and truly unite. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.